meeting or budget work. Do it again. Yeah. Well, we'll call the board to order for a budget workshop for Wednesday, February 25th, right? 25th. We are minus Andrea and Tom's, just three of us and Andy and Leslie over there. So
Cheryl's online.
yeah. And Cheryl's on there somewhere. Where's she hiding?
She's hiding.
Yeah. All right. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, Daryl. I'm hiding on the floor.
Yeah. All right. Trying to hide. I guess.
checking.
Yeah, if Andy, anything, I know you've got something in front of us here with a,
Yes.
couple things here. Let you go over those real
Yeah.
quick and then.
So I shared a couple of things. One, this comes out of the question that was raised last year, it's raised again this year. What things in the budget are we kind of obligated, contracted to?
Yeah.
And so attempting to try and, I struggle with kind of like drawing that nice box around those
Yeah,
items.
yeah, I get it. It's.
Every contract has to have it out, and you could change service levels or expectations, and some things you could change, but maybe not. As I noted it here, I call them non-negotiable, that there is not an alternative readily available for the start of FY 27.
Yeah.
But maybe we
Gotcha.
flag it, talk about it.
It's helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And-
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
put it kind of a box around it that way.
Yeah.
And assuming that we weren't gonna go canceling contracts, that these are the things that we have in place. The other side of that page, is
Yeah,
things
the
that are
charter.
listed in town charter.
Yep.
That it says we shall and are obligated to provide by way of charter without modifying it. The bigger packet is something from MMA. In
Yeah,
which it pulls from statute, all the things and services municipalities are required to provide.
Oh, okay.
There are no costs associated with those 19 pages of items. But for those that are maybe a little unaware, there's a lot of things we do on behalf of the state as agents of the state.
Mhm.
And this helps either drive service and expectations of what we're doing or that we're actually just doing on their behalf. So kind of two levels.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Things through charter and then statute identified items.
Execution and stuff.
That may be an interesting packet.
Yeah.
So, just without looking at the detail, the contract's non-negotiables, that's 62 or 3% of the operating budget, or that includes the capital?
The municipal total.
That's, we're, if I go back to the beginning of,
Oh, out of which number?
yeah, no, I.
Total or gotcha.
I- Of the.
Well, that's an eye opener in itself.
Pretty sure I took it out of the combined.
Yeah,
Wow.
Municipal
So-
expenditure total.
so it's the 4 million.
4 million, right?
Yeah.
2,444, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's out of the.
Town budget.
Total budget, yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was an exercise that we, not to this depth, but we went through a few things last year to that, especially with the hydrant fees, and then we had the new
Mhm.
plow contract, which was another 80, and, there was a chunk last year that was like, these can't change right now.
Right.
Type of thing, yeah, yeah. Oh, this is interesting. I go through it more in depth, but the requirements, I mean, this is probably gonna be eye-opening to us as well, because we don't. But what the staff load is, outside of, a lot of exception is that. Do registrations and you collect the property tax, and that's about all that happens in the town office, right?
Yeah.
But this would be an interesting document to look through for just the general public and say, like, what they're doing behind closed doors is, we have to monitor this and monitor this, keep up with this and all these statutes, and that's, yeah, there's a long.
Is this posted on the website?
Can't remember. I don't think it's in the budget, no, I don't think it is.
I don't,
The
this
committee,
probably
when the
not,
committee
yeah.
meets again, I'll put it in their packet.
Yeah,
I think it'd be
And posted it.
something to see.
well, yeah, it's just out of the fact that like you're looking at just in the general aspect of what duties and what the town government, has to. maintain, or at least just be apprised of, it's not everything is a.
Wow.
Right. What'd you find?
Well, I didn't know that a fence viewer was required by state law.
The fence viewer?
Yeah,
Is it a state law?
I thought it was just something that we made up.
Oh,
Or was like.
kind of thought so
Or
too.
just a local sort
Yeah.
of, something from the
I thought
past.
we just kept carrying that along because it was,
For the last 100 years.
it was fun, yeah.
Yeah, no.
So, yeah, Forest General Assistance Fair Hearing Authority, yeah, our best, so.
Wow.
But, yeah, you're down, that one I thought we just kind of
I thought so too.
did it, and, well, how old that is, that's gonna be such an old.
So
That shoot.
these are linked documents in the agenda for the committee that was supposed to have happened Monday.
Monday,
It was
yeah.
canceled.
Okay.
So it's kind of linked. in-
Yeah, well, it's something we can direct people to, like when you have conversations with folks and they just to understand like, how much goes into, it's not just, what happens within the town, but then the state has all these regulations and, not so much on the federal end, but you've got a lot of state statutes that need to be maintained and kept up with and, huh,
And some of it is very irregular. I mean, just for a small town doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
yeah,
And so you still have to keep up on the training, you still have to be understanding how to do it. It still happens to some degree, maybe once in a year, maybe once every 2 years on some, some certain things, but.
well, like, just some of these ones are surprising, I know, like, junkyards, municipality must license and police junkyards. So how do who, code enforcement probably, but like,
Property maintenance ordinance.
yeah, so you gotta have that, but you gotta have somebody that keeps up on it, goes and checks them. And
So when does it fall under the junkyard statute?
And
You
now,
have to print the ordinance for.
municipalities must issue permits before a steam engine can be erected within the municipality.
Oh, interesting.
Do we have a steam engine permit?
Not that I know
Wow. Well,
What?
well, so if you happen to come up with one, or you buy
I
one.
think we should test that. I think somebody should push the envelope and
If
test that.
anybody has one in town,
We're
you probably
gonna get
do.
a steam engine. I'm gonna show it, where's my permit? That's great, okay,
Yeah.
so it is something we can all reference and keep an eye on, that's pretty good. Thank you, Andy.
Wow, closing out, going out.
Who would you-
business sale. Closing out sales, going out of business, and municipal officers must issue a license for closing out or going out of business sales located in the municipality.
Interesting. I didn't know about that.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, why would you, right? It's like, don't you think you need a permit to build a steam engine?
No, if they're going out of business, we should attach a fee to
Oh
it,
my God, a fee?
to going out of business.
Good lord.
Yeah, it's just pouring salt in the wound.
Yeah, no doubt, yeah. Yeah, pitchforks and torches, no doubt. Yeah, games of chance, yeah, that's far. So, okay. Cool, all right, let's, yeah, I'll go for the reference there, so. Thank you, Andy. I'm assuming we wanna start back into capital, we had left off on, page 36 out of 50. With the highway truck we had gone through, still running? Ooh, the highway truck is still
It
running?
is still running.
Okay.
Shifters back into where,
Yeah.
getting geared like it's supposed to.
Do you, just before we get too in depth, does anybody have, I mean, time wise, I don't know what folks are thinking tonight, or, I mean, hour and a half or something maybe,
Sure, that's
or
fine.
we can see where we get, and kind
Yeah.
of go from there.
Yeah, you can take a temperature at
Yeah,
6 o'clock.
And then we'll at least get through capital and then
Yeah.
see where we can.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough, Andy?
Mhm.
Yeah, all right. So let's start off with 37 in highway equipment. Through here. So just, yeah, Cindy, have anything, any questions, anything jumps out or anything you wanna?
Yeah, just a reminder, the
Clarify.
front end loader and the, mower, snow blower, those showing annual amounts there, just because we have that. Lease to own.
Yeah.
Thing set up there, we bought both last year and paid over 4 years, 0% interest.
Yeah.
So proposing that we just continue to make the payments out of that as we had been proactively funding for them anyways.
Yeah.
And
Good idea to keep paying for that. A big jump in out there. So you're proposing with 30 grand.
So at this point, we're really just making sure we understand everything as opposed to making.
I think so, Dan. I think that's where
Yeah.
we started last week. I mean, it was a
Yeah.
good call. We just go through and reiterate and then
If you have questions now,
Yeah.
to discuss and.
Yeah, okay.
And we can discuss that. We can get through capital and then if folks, I mean, if we wanna come back to the next one and then go do capital and then start fresh with, we can, it's,
Yeah.
I'm open to anything.
Okay.
I don't mind, yeah.
I will say that, on the equipment there, you know, they're all a bit smaller purchases, but,
Mhm.
that snow pusher there in 2028, that's kind of in
Yeah.
anticipation of the, multi-use bi-lane being completed, the 8 to 10 foot wide path.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got a 60 inch blade right now on the John Deere. But even that's only gonna get you so much, cause it's only about 2 feet tall, maybe, not even. So at some point it won't be as effective. The snow blower is 54 inches wide. And so it's like, we don't have anything that would be less than 2 passes. You know, we'd be 3, potentially 4 of some of those.
Yeah, something that long.
At almost 10 feet wide. And so the idea was maybe to get something that, you know, a little bit wider, that could do that stretch at least in 2 passes, but also be used, you know, for other cleanup jobs or
Yeah.
whatever, not knowing yet the trajectory of how much we may or may not do in-house in the future, but it would be a piece of equipment that, you know, they'll, you know, maybe overkill for everything else we currently do, would suit us to be used more versatily in the future if we do more.
Yeah.
But that's just a placeholder. Try to think about it, do we want something different other than the ones, you know, snow blower and the 60 inch blade to clear that wide path? You're not gonna be able to put the truck on it.
Right.
Unless we wanna downsize.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta
get
look
a
at the-
UTV or something, but
Yeah,
which I wouldn't recommend for us.
the man hours,
That's
if
a
you're,
fire, police and public works thing.
yeah, probably if you calculate the man hours, if you're doubling or tripling the passes, you know, how long that takes as opposed to doing it once with a piece of equipment over time, you know.
With the salt spreaders we have, though a third one might be something we wanna consider if we had that much more sidewalk, but the spread, in the range with that, with that attachment can go about 15 feet, and so that'd be fine. You can go one, you gotta come back either way, but you could hit it all with one pass.
Yeah.
You don't have to go a third time.
Okay. Nothing huge there, just kind of continuing funding.
Okay.
All right.
So even if we do, if we, let's say we move forward with Newcastle, then all of this stuff will be usable in terms of our contribution of some level, yes, to the.
You know, be fun figuring out what the value is going in, but yes.
Yeah, that was my question, or how would that equate out with the? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it has to.
Yeah,
in
oh, yeah,
some
yeah.
fashion.
Yeah, you have to appraise everything and then with the depreciation and make it, yeah, but that would be the idea and however that percentage split was and stuff, yeah, but.
Yeah, we spent more time, you know, kind of talking about what's needed, what would the fair and equitable, like, cost share be between for each year, but we haven't talked as a committee a lot about like the buy-in and like,
Right.
if we're able to bring to the table a working truck and some equipment. What's that?
These are all,
value?
yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
iron that out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big piece.
Yeah, that right now is still focused on what's the overall cost
Correct.
and then,
Correct.
yeah, and then getting a little more of the.
Yeah, I'm not trying to put the horse before the.
Oh, no, I get it.
I know we did talk about
Yeah.
briefly, like Newcastle was suggesting that perhaps for them, they start to fund an equipment reserve.
Yeah.
And they aren't buying the stuff yet, but they're putting money into the reserve so that they can maybe match the value potentially of what we
Mhm.
had. So we've talked just very general
Yeah.
use about it, but
Very broad.
it does require
Over
hours.
hours.
Cause really, they don't have any equipment.
Yeah. Yeah, they're starting from
Hand tools.
start from scratch, yeah. Yeah.
Yep. The sidewalk reserve, where the funding levels and output really kind of fall apart, that and paving. In terms of like, there's a high cost, a lot that needs to happen.
Yeah,
And the funding levels aren't at a point.
This
where
one
we're
you-
able to actually do the work at cash
right.
value.
I mean, you could be funding this one at $500,000 a year, just.
Especially this winter, or this.
It's only, it never, this one never stops. That's the scary part about, with roads and sidewalks and stuff, it's like, holy moly.
Yeah, and when you look at the capital budget, that's kind of that's where the big increases come. if you look back over a couple of years.
Oh, from your, yeah,
You know, back on page one.
yeah. Dan's going back to the beginning again.
Yeah, but you know, you just look at it,
Yeah.
you know, it's, you're going from 100,000 to 400,000 in 10 years, you know, you're going from.
Yeah.
Some cases 0 to 150,
Yeah.
you're going from,
And this is, and that's
yeah,
the
0 to 225.
Great point too, because this is another one that we look back and it was just arbitrarily funded. You know, you're putting 10,000 in it, 15,000 or whatever, and then that little bit of money just smoked, and it wasn't not put anything in it. Yeah, so I know part of the process with any of the new budgets coming in, it's like, oh, you know, they're not funded properly, like you can't project out to X amount of
Right.
dollars at that rate, you'll never get there.
Right.
So, yeah, it's scary to, you know, see this, you know, get some big jumps in there. You know?
Yeah.
Sidewalks are more fundable by road than roads in terms of like grant funds, but not usually to repave them, usually it's to build them, or if you wanna, if you have them built, and you're repaved again, you want a grant, you're more likely gonna have to widen and maybe accommodate multi-use, and so now you're talking bigger impacts on property owners and road narrowing potentially, and so it gets a little tricky to assume that we're gonna get grants to do the repaving, which is where we're at now with a lot of them. This does not reflect like Church Street, for example, that's already funded through the reserve, like, well, maybe it will be in there. Seems like Main Street, the MPI we have. Yeah, I have that in there now, but so that one, you'll see an offsetting like grant amount.
Yeah, out in year 28, 29.
Yeah.
30.
And so I'm trying to project, like, when we do have them, trying to put them in there, but show that there are the offsets, and so.
Yeah, gotcha, okay.
But for this one, there's a lot of them that are just repaving, and so I anticipate there's gonna be grants for a good majority of them, and I think that's what we kind of just need to realize and reset some of these values that we're
Yeah.
funding, and know that at some point it has to be replaced.
Mhm.
Yeah, it looks like I don't have included in there. The Church Street section with it in a sidewalk currently.
Mhm.
That one, there's an estimated budget, and we're trying to get as much grant money as possible on that one, but I don't have it in here as
Yeah,
a.
well, you have Church Street Pleasant, Main Street. In 2029.
Oh, no, sorry, I do have it in
Yeah, I was gonna
That's
say-
the 700,000.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
just for the sidewalk component.
Mhm.
Sorry, I didn't have it.
Right.
And that's the one you're applying for grants for.
First, yeah, we need to piece it together still. We've got the 850. In which we're in theory sharing with coastal rivers, because it was a combined sidewalk, road and trail project. To try and make it the most competitive application it could be.
Yeah.
The total project estimated cost is like $4 million. Both, between both entities, we had about 800, you know, so we were hovering around 20% cash match. And then 850 awarded, like, it wouldn't provide either project to be completed in full, even if you had the full amount from each other. So we need to piece a lot more together. There's another grant that we're keeping an eye on, that'll be a fall. We're anticipating for fall, we've got some legwork to do to make it a competitive one grant, it's open right now, or I think it's open right now, but we're not ready to submit it.
Mhm.
But they'll do it again in the fall as the NBRC, up to 3 million. But yeah, that's one there that's on there, but unless we get the funding, we aren't at levels to be able to afford to do it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's just a lot of money when you look at it,
Mhm.
you know, yeah, it's just.
For
For
I don't think-
a little town to come up with that kind of.
I don't think we want to eliminate sidewalks, but you know, there's a desire and a drive to have what we have for sidewalks and more.
And more, right?
Yeah, no, they're right.
And this is one of the things that we need to realize is like, okay, how do we do it?
Yeah.
I say we can't, but how do we do it in a way that is manageable
Yeah.
financially?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
realize the
the-
maintenance next time it comes
The
up.
desire's there from several different fronts, you know, from.
And then you can see the
BSAC.
maintenance comes up quickly.
Yeah, I mean, that one on Elm Street, that was done in, was that 18, 16, 18? So we're about 10 years on that one, I think.
Yeah.
Really?
Hutchins Street wasn't that old.
Yeah.
I mean, after this winter, they all need to be resurfaced almost.
Yeah.
Maybe you get one more out of and you have to, you know, but it's like, if we don't have the money, we also either need to bond it. Right, that
Yeah.
deficit is either you bond it, and pay interest, or You know, in which case you can decide whether, if you take the bond out, make that debt payment, whether you adjust any of these proactive funds and just, okay, we're not gonna have an additional $200,000 today. We're just gonna shift it over to here.
Yeah, yeah,
Pay the interest, unfortunately.
I know.
and Find a
Move it
way
to
to
that,
try and
and
fund the next
yeah.
ones.
yeah.
That's what we're trying to do with the fire truck, is build that reserve to a point where when that payment comes, we're trying to get to
Just
that.
flip it over.
And then just shift that value
Yeah.
and still fund the reserve
Yeah,
for the other trucks.
yeah, right. Hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, and I know paving's coming up too, and that's just a whole nother.
That's the next one, yeah.
That's the next one. Let's go right into that one then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
yeah.
I thought sidewalks was bad, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're, what's their current
We got
balance in there?
$132,000 and then.
Oh, my good lord.
I know.
Yeah, that's pennies. I know, that's a scary one.
Yeah.
With what needs to happen and the cost of.
We just make them all dirt roads, I guess.
Ooh, no, go back to,
Yeah, I did.
yeah.
I did talk to someone a few weeks ago, they brought about budget stuff and concerns about how do we mitigate or minimize these increases, and I said, well, let's take roads, for example. I mean, we have to repave, and once you've got them, you have to by law maintain them. It doesn't say it has to be paved, it doesn't say you have to forever own them either. I said, so unless we want to have conversation about potentially discontinuing some of these townways. Granted, they're not long miles, but you know, every little road adds up too.
Yeah.
You know, you can take a look again at some of them, and I'm not suggesting, it's just, what are the options, right? You could have less. You could do different maintenance treatments, you know, chip sealing, I know is not a well-received, maintenance, you know, kind of method, but. You know, some towns are using it because it does, as long as your road base is in good condition. I don't know that it's fair to say this if you're in the industry, but if you were to look at, you have a paved driveway and you do, you seal it every year, every 2 years to keep water out of it.
Yeah.
The chip seal serves the same principle. You're giving it a wear service, you're making sure that water's
Right,
not getting down
yeah.
into the road base and doing what it's doing this.
Cracking, pushing it, yeah, buckling it.
You know, it does, if you had your own cutting edge budget, you'd realize that in the first winter that you're gonna go through a few extra cutting edges because it's a really rough surface.
Mhm.
But it does provide a little more traction for drivers. It's a noisier surface, so people will complain about the noise.
Yeah.
It's a messy process when you're laying it out until it cures and the chips, you know,
Mhm.
are able to bind with that emulsion.
Yeah.
But it is a possible solution on certain roads. If that means you're able to kick off the next 1.5 inch overlay by 5 years, 6 years by putting in a fifth of the price. Maybe you do it, maybe you don't, but we're a long way from, probably, you know, 'cause we have so many roads that just need so much work.
Other than like Pine Ridge, you know, down the backside there, I'm trying to think, is everything structurally, like our road bases, I think we're pretty good now. Is there anything, I mean, Kingswoods was just rebuilt. Pine Ridge is the issue on the backside that needs to be
Got some
fixed.
issues. Heater roads got some issues.
Yeah, that's right. Heater roads,
Section there.
got some spots in it.
I'd say Lesnar Road's probably got some issues.
Yeah.
I mean, it never had the proper drainage really, and if you want.
Yeah,
on the side.
right. Lesnor's narrow. So I'm looking at like, yeah, besides paving, you know, I know I'm getting off topic with paving, but you've got, before you pave, you've got some roads that need some significant
Mhm.
rebuilding as well. Kind of goes hand in hand, but yeah.
So when you say give up town roads, does that mean that if people are living on them, they just become private roads? And you just tell them it's a private road now?
There's a process to it.
Yeah, I would imagine.
There's kind of both.
Yeah,
And you have to do
Yeah.
some assessment on, you know, whether or not it changes and impacts the property values by going from public to private. And so there's some considerations to it. You know, just spend a little money up front, you know, assessing and legal stuff, but and that the town has a vote on it. Whether they want it to be that way or not. I mean, some people might say, good, I'll take care of myself, no problem. But the other 5 neighbors might not agree.
I'm gonna say, I bet it's hard to go the other way and
Yeah.
revert it back
I would
to a
think
private
so. I
road,
think it
yeah.
would be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta be, yeah. Then you look at, yeah, you know, they have to put together road, you know, whatever the.
What would be the incentive for them to do so?
Hmm. Exactly.
I think if you've got, I mean, I don't know,
Well, if it lowers your, your tax valuation maybe, but it can't be that much.
I don't think, so I think you'd have, I don't know that, I mean, last time it's been a while, not to really look at it in this way, but the idea that my property is worth a different value than my neighbors because I'm on a private road and they're on a public road, the market doesn't necessarily explain that there's a big difference between the same, 3-bedroom house, 2-bath on this road and that road.
Mm.
The township and the general location is still just as desirable.
Yeah.
Whether people realize what
Gotcha.
the difference is or not, is another matter, but the buying.
Additional maintenance cost to the homeowners.
Yeah.
So,
And most of
Wow.
them don't tend to do the formal full-on legal road association, it's just some people will chip in, some people will just do it. And we've got a hybrid of those different models in town.
Yeah.
And there's a couple that are set up in name, but maybe don't really fully do it that way. Gives them the ability to lien the property owners within that association.
If they don't.
If they don't contribute their share, but I don't know many people that have chosen to take that approach to it, they just, I wish they pay. We'll just pay more.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's not a favorable one, and it's not, I don't know that it's a realistic
Yeah,
one,
I'm not sure it's
but
realistic.
it's like that's the
Right,
only way
yeah.
to either go back to gravel on some of these and have higher annual maintenance costs. With that, but the asphalt, is it cheaper in the long run to maintain a good gravel road versus just repaving?
Well, yeah, because you worry about, you've got runoff, water runoff, I mean, with your asphalt, so a gravel road. Gonna wash some of that away, so it's opposed to asphalt, and yeah, there's maintenance differences in maintenance, different type of maintenance.
So in the wintertime, you do wanna treat those differently than you do your asphalt surfaces, and that becomes a headache, depending on what your ratio is. Right now, it's nice, we got just the one road, and a portion of it that's gravel. And so that is nice in that regard, because you don't wanna be putting a lot of salt on those gravel roads.
Yeah.
In the wintertime, because now you start to get a live surface and mud.
No, it's greasy.
You want that road bed to stay frozen.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be icier traveling, so it's not
Yeah.
ideal either.
Mm.
So how do we accept what we have and just need to get these funding levels to a point where.
I know.
And then just try to delay it as long as possible and keep that service in good condition by using other methods.
Yeah, that chip in emulsion, or whatever you call it. Cause if you look around town, the Main Street, or well, business route around Biskie and Bristol Road, those are all state.
Those are all state aid, yeah.
And everything else is our responsibility, including church. So if you sort of. Our roads, if you I don't wanna say prioritize, but if you said this is a class 1, 2, 3, if we did some sort of rating. And whatever we determined were the least traveled roads, just do that chipping thing.
Mhm.
And for level 3 roads, the level 1 roads, you continue to do what you
Yeah.
do. Because, but you could defend that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you
Because
take a
it would be
road like,
cheaper and then it's not used as much and then we to keep it
Yeah.
going for longer.
you have Branch Road, Oak Road, Pinkham Road, King Woods for that matter, Pine Ridge, I mean, those were all pretty low volume roads. That,
Yeah, they're
they're
more local-
something like
local
that.
driving.
Put them at a level, however you rank them, but if you just said 3 levels, 1, 2, 3, and level 1, you gotta.
Are you thinking
continue to do, huh?
Are you thinking of ranking them by traffic flow?
I don't know how else to do it, but.
Well, I mean, it's not a bad idea.
I'm just coming up with it,
Well, I
as I'm
think
sitting here.
Well, it's not
Yeah.
a bad idea. because
And
then
then the
you're
level
looking at
3s are, we're gonna maintain them, but they're gonna be maintained this way.
Highly
because it's-
traveled.
Because it's cheaper and it actually helps them last longer.
Yeah.
For the town and it does the trick. So I don't know, just.
No, and I think if you were to come up with a true, road surface management plan,
Yeah.
that's exactly what you would do.
Okay.
We've done the inventory, so we know the condition of the road surfaces from 2023.
Yeah.
We're gonna do another assessment this spring, after things settle out, to update that. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't get into it starts that conversation of how do we either fix, I think the mantra really with the state is like, whatever needs to be reconstructed, needs to be reconstructed. It needed to be probably 5 years ago. It still will need to be 3 years from now if you don't do it right away. So you might be spending more time with cold mix and just patching and whatever, cutting sections out to keep it, because what you don't want to have happen in that there's a cost curve of routine maintenance to reconstruction, and there's at some point, it comes a very sharp fall off.
Yeah.
That you get to a point where you have no other option other than to invest in bigger money.
Yeah.
So that idea of the chip sealing and other methods, you know, the LCP, the stuff the state does, would work if it didn't happen at the condition that the road surface ends up in when they do it.
Yeah.
Everything they
Yeah.
did in 23 and 24 is already cracked open
Yeah.
again.
Yeah,
You know, that's because they waited too long. Now Bristol Road did get a shim, in some spots before they did that thin mix, but. You know, it comes a point where what they're putting down is more of a sand, mixture, versus like when you do paving at a thicker. Depth, you know, you're using stone, so you have a better product to bind and stay in place, and you take your high volume roads. You know, 10,000 cars a day, and you're just putting that little sand, you know, surface on that. At a,
Yeah, it doesn't
maybe
last.
3/4 of an inch, maybe, it just
does not last.
And so I think we can certainly get into the weeds on a better, you know, maintenance plan, targeted plan like that.
Mhm.
In combination with trying to catch up and
Yeah.
invest in, but it's something we should consider.
But if it could save 10, 20, 30,000 a year
Mhm.
for a while, then.
Then you're at project price.
So that's something.
You treat some of that's more like routine maintenance and you're
Yeah.
operating rather than.
Yeah, get it back to up to a basic level, and then you can vary your maintenance levels at that point for, this is a high volume, low volume, you know. Get them all to a certain base, and if they're safe and reliable, and to go from there. Yeah,
So there's projected years in which we do these, and unless you wanna take a bond out, these aren't gonna happen in these years, but.
right,
It's what I'm suggesting we do them by, be it based on the condition. And kind of open for conversation as to whether we feel, whether you feel it's warranting of a loan, going after a bond.
Yeah.
Or whether some of it can
well,
be
we,
pushed.
we may not have a choice too, that's the scary part, we may not have a choice,
Right.
you know, we get to a point where if we've got X amount of dollars in capital and. The road needs to be fixed. Well, I don't like the idea of it, but unless we appropriate $500,000 a year. No,
Yeah, we do have 191,000 a year that's locked into one road bond.
Mhm.
That matures in 2032, I believe, or two, I think it's two. We still have principal left on that.
Yeah.
With earmarks for the culvert down here on
Okay.
Church Street.
we still have some left in that, yeah.
We are paying on that one. So you'll have a while. When those get paid off, it's not an opportunity to say, let's lower the taxes. It's like, let's reinvest that into the reserve account.
Oh, it doesn't, it's not going away,
You know, if the target is $500,000 a year, and you're 190 there, another 200,000 a year on another bond. You know, get that point where that target funding level is, so you can maintain it in the
Yeah.
future, but we're still climbing out of the hole.
No, that's the scary reality, I get it.
So the inventory, I put it, I don't think I put it, I do have,
For road and dirt.
and can share with you what the output was from 23. Started with that inventory of the road surfaces and then put a cost factor, to it based on the condition they were in. Can share that with you all
Yeah, who's doing it?
if you'd like to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you've had some data on that before in the last couple of years, so. Ugh.
Doesn't include the volume of traffic. We could, with the equipment we have within PD, to collect that over time. Those speed bumps to collect traffic count.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you can anecdotally kind of. Almost classify like, you know, I mean, not to the car, but which roads have heavier traffic than others, and be nice to have, you know, that's some real data, but, you know, as an exercise, you can kind of pick and say, oh yeah, this road is, you know, it's kind of a boat flow road, but. Yeah. Roads. Alright. All right, we wanna move on to the next page, folks? Parking lot?
Nothing proposed to go into that. There is,
That one, I like this, yeah.
there is some residual funds,
Mhm.
not sure, I have to go back and try and see, we have,
The balance and
this parking
appropriation.
lot reserve. There was also a back parking lot restroom reserve as well as.
Oh, those all got
waterfront project reserve, and so in terms of this particular one, I don't readily know what this intent of this particular one is for, real, other than the other two, so.
Okay.
We have it, I'm fully funding it, if anything, there is some money in it, it's just a matter of, it could be
So,
one that.
You're saying those got rolled into,
No, we got three separate reserves, that were likely at one point contributing to the parking lot project.
yeah,
The
okay.
waterfront project reserve, one that most of it was coming out of, there was a bathroom reserve,
Oh, I see.
back parking lot restrooms reserve, that one's gonna be zeroed out. The waterfront project presumably was for what we've just done, but I don't know. Either way, like we could look at a town meeting to try and ask the voters to maybe combine those kind of into one reserve for a certain purpose. I don't find what it was created for.
Yeah, this is a capital reserve because like striping and stuff, that just comes out of the operating budget. Which I think we operate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what those were put in place for, but they seem like they're almost superfluous now, like you could go into one.
Mhm.
But what would the reserve be for? So, well, obviously at some point we need parking lot improvements, even though it's brand new, it's still.
Yeah, I think
No.
How many years you're gonna have to reshingle the bathroom?
Yeah, exactly, yeah,
New toilets?
yeah, siding, anything.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I
don't know if
included
it's
those
needed.
in the waterfront, project reserve. I did, so complete EDA project, resurface the lot, boat launch, so I put all of those things
Oh, okay.
minus the bathroom. In that, so it could be possible that we keep the bathroom reserve as a building reserve. We could put it in municipal building reserves, I mean, there's a couple of ways you could account for its needs, which I haven't identified yet, because it's so new. But I think this is one here that could be a candidate at town meeting on a warrant article to reappropriate those funds to. Like a waterfront reserve, essentially.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, right there, okay. Okay, all right. Oh, this is the Church Street sidewalk.
Yeah, these were private funds that came in, for that sidewalk specifically, and it's just keeping that separate from others.
Yeah.
There's some other money that came in for that did end up in the sidewalk reserve. That just on paper, we're keeping track of to make sure it goes to that project.
Oh, okay.
There's about 275 and another 130. Yeah, it was about 250, I think, that came in privately for that sidewalk, some for engineering and then the other amounts for construction.
All right.
Bike infrastructure was created a couple years ago at town meeting after the board approved the bike, festival resolve. I'm not proposing funding it, given all the other funding challenges we have. Some of this improvements, I think when they happen, could also and would just be done as part of paving.
I was gonna say, that's a hard one to project, because it directly relates to, if you're doing a road rebuild or project or something, so it's hard to say, like, what do you put in there, if it,
Right.
what's it going for exactly?
I think you end up with just competing interests potentially if it's created so that should people make donations, we have a place, the board has a place to appropriate to in that year.
Yeah,
And then it could be used as matching.
I think it would be applied, yeah.
Do you imagine that the PPI project will encompass bicycles at all, or a wide enough trail?
I think it's certainly possible
I
if
could see
that's,
sidewalks easy enough.
if that's something that is,
Or Church Street sidewalk.
an interest is expressed through the planning process, yeah.
Well, there's certainly an interest out there in the biking community.
I think it all comes down to cost.
To get out of town, they want to be able to get out of downtown safely.
Yeah.
They want to get to downtown safely.
Right, yeah, because you're limited, I mean, it's limited what you can grow here for bicycle infrastructure, so you'd really
Yeah,
have
it's
to
really,
get,
it's really,
yeah, I mean, you've got,
I mean,
just have width set up.
you get
fixed.
out to Lesson Road and stuff, you're fine, biking and stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
If there's no cars.
well, there's less cars, but,
Right.
yeah. Well, people are more comfortable.
Yeah, it's less,
Yeah, I think-
it's less traffic.
I think on Main Street, it's all possible, it just comes back down to the cost. There's some design limits, restrictions on widths off of the road before you get into driveways and front yards and potential buildings. And for those that are closer, if you're gonna have a dedicated, bike lane, I think you're supposed to be like, what, 4 or 5 feet?
Those could be.
If you want a sidewalk too, you're minimum 4,
Yeah.
by EDA standards, preferably 5, so you're 9, 10 feet all of a sudden on one side of the road. So it's not that it can't happen, it's just a matter of what does it look like if we do include it? Are there other creative on-road, off-road solutions for bikes or pedestrians
Yes.
that are possible through parts of town?
Yes.
Some parts might not have that. Some
Yeah.
might be clear coming off of Main Street for that purpose and finding ways to get them back to Main Street. If the cost to go parallel is too expensive.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I think in that, I look forward to that PPI process that we're working through with Sebago to, you know, and Emerson and Michael are working pretty hard on making sure there's good community input, leading up
Yeah.
for that May meeting.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be a series of stakeholder meetings, targeting business and property owners specifically along that stretch to start, and then there'll be a general one, for the public, and two of them, I believe, for the public generally,
Mhm.
after they have those targeted ones. And then there'll be the meeting in May with the engineers, so the idea is that hopefully folks come with an understanding of what's happening. And some ideas for the engineers to think about, so over the summer they can come up with their concepts.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I think it's certainly possible.
All right. Technology. You sit on there now, 26.
This one we did propose flat funding for this year,
Mhm.
or going to zero with it. It does have a healthy balance. We did replace the server. You know, until we get to the year, hopefully we don't have the issue, but we're trying to fund this in a way that, you know, PD was able to get funding through Midcoast Council of Governments
Yeah.
a couple of years ago through a earmark fund to help PDs upgrade technology. So it was like a $17,000 grant we got.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah, I remember that.
But in 5 years, you'll have all of those to replace again in 1 year.
All at once,
And
yeah.
so that's another example of like, okay, well, you know. We're just
Also,
trying
we have
to
to immediately fund that.
create
technology
funding levels
budget,
through this
yeah.
reserve
Yeah.
that would afford us that in the future without seeing a big jump in the 1 year.
So it's funny, when I look at something like this, like 5,000 a year with $5,000, it almost feels operating.
Mhm.
When you're just replacing PCs, updating software, you know, sort of stuff.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? As opposed to a capital budget kind of thing, it almost feels operating budget.
Yeah, we might be well to put some definitions to what do we consider as capital. Typically, the lifespan of more than
Is it 3 or 5
3
years?
years and expense of more than $5,000. I think
Yeah.
it's something like, it's kind of a
Yeah.
standard benchmark.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
but we're hoping for 5 years, is kind of what we're building in for replacement, is a 5-year replacement cycle of computers. Maybe you get a 6th year out of them.
Yeah.
7th year maybe.
Pretty standard.
But operating systems that seems like they're being unsupported and outdated within a couple of years. The next version's there, and
Yeah.
3 years after that, they stop supporting the other one. So
Yeah.
figure 5 years is safe, and if we can get extra, we'll get extra. That we rely on them. I think being smart about what we do, I think, you know, we bought some laptops with the beginning of COVID, so that there was some work from home options.
Yeah.
The way we're set up at the time, and the way it's still kind of set up, is you remote log in. But from an IT perspective, you're not remote logging into the server because there's some great risk there.
Mhm.
And so it does require anyone logging in remotely to have a desktop to remote log into. And so you're requiring people to have 2 computers essentially. It's like, I'd like to get away from that need.
Oh,
Yeah, we could utilize Google Drive more frequently, for some of that working stuff, sheets and documents in there. Trio is now web-based, and so we can access Trio from, we don't need a remote login for that. That was one of the big ones, that you couldn't access otherwise. But that could all be set up now in the future on laptops. For those that might end up working from home, so there's not 2 computers in those stations. Like for mine, when the desktop, well, this laptop will be due to be replaced next year. The desktop just got replaced, but the idea was that could get put on someone else's computer that's due for a replacement, just got done this year. But I could go with just a laptop. As long as I can put it on a docking station, hook up to the monitors, it'll be fine.
Yeah, right.
I don't need 2 computers,
Right.
right? So I think there's some ways in which we can lessen some of that, what we've built up to. That said, we did add 7 for the budget PCs or laptops for planning board.
Yeah, for planning board.
Whether the select board would endeavor to have some robust technology in the future as well, so for discussion, but yeah, we're just trying to make sure that's a level.
Yeah, yeah. You guys. Don't plan.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too far off again, even though it was just finished, depending on how involved the next iteration is, you're gonna want some money available to support that. You don't have staff capacity currently to be able to dedicate someone on that effort.
Right, yeah.
Without bringing in someone else to do other parts of their job, so. Those numbers could change a little bit, but that's just putting it out there kind of to think about for next year, you know, at what levels do we wanna start, and when do we wanna start funding for that next one?
Yeah, because it's every 10 years, right, in theory,
That's the benchmark.
and this one is considered 24 or 23, 24. No, cemetery. This one's 20. I remember when we got 23, it was about 60,000. What was that?
What was it?
What was that for?
Where are you?
Well, I was looking back at 50,000. Oh, I'm sorry. No, disregard. I was a page ahead of myself. No, I was looking at the cemetery, but I went back too far. Yeah. 23. Just looking at some of the numbers, yeah, 12.5 and then 25. Okay. What happens to those little dollars that we collect every time we sell a lot?
Some of it goes into the trust fund, which needs to continually grow, and you're not supposed to use the principal invested.
Is interest off of it?
Yes, you know, and have whatever few $100s that goes into it,
It's not gonna.
its balance isn't really earning a ton for us to cover annual operating stuff.
Yeah.
So
Can
we
we
just-
increase, and that'd be part of our fee schedule to look at that?
Could be.
Because the real cost of those things is when you think about it, well, it's in perpetuity.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, right, I just, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if we ever, I don't recall ever pulling a fund from it or who, you know, to do anything with it, like it's not. Like, you know, for basic maintenance, I mean, we always look at operating and capital, but I don't think I've ever seen it come in as like an offsetting revenue, so to speak. For anything, so be curious to see what's.
It's generally pretty low amount.
So I mean, it can't be much, you know, because because you don't use the interest, so you know, the principal doesn't.
Right. I mean, there could come a point where maybe it covers a portion of something every year, but it's never gonna.
Yeah.
You know, with the volume of sales, it's never good.
It's not the point where it's gonna put a column variant.
I mean, I don't know what that, I mean, if you're running an operating budget of, what was it? 60, 70 grand.
Mhm.
A year on the operating side. I mean, what's the principal need to be in that at the rates today to be able to generate?
Divided by 2%. Yeah.
You gotta grow a little bit more.
2%, you've been generous. Yeah, just curious, I don't think I've ever seen if I've seen those numbers, but yeah, I don't expect it to be a heck of a lot, but.
Yeah, the big drivers in this one, on this outlook here, is the unknown expense of removing some of those massive pines in the Chapman McAllister Cemetery.
Yeah.
Have you gotten any estimates on that, or is that just speculation?
Just speculation. I mean, you're not likely to get equipment down in there.
It's a big tree.
The guys went down in and walked with the folks that put the bid in, for mowing a few weeks ago, and there has been a few limbs that came off of trees just outside the cemetery and landed in, so we're not sure of the extent of damage yet.
Yeah, gotcha.
But, what we're worried about is happening, those big trees are just gonna start at some point.
Yeah, they're a bunch of nasty old pasture pines down there.
Exceeded maturity.
Yeah, no, that was, I mean, when we did, you know, part of my benchmarking for that is we took a tree down on Belvedere. A few years ago, had to be craned down. You're not getting a crane here, but just that one, it was easy to access, required a crane because of the road, it was $3,500. Some of the trees at Biskie came down at about 1,000 to 1,500 a piece, depending on how big they were. But you had access to put trucks and equipment right there and clean it up, and so I don't know.
Yeah, you're gonna be taking that down by hand in sections and more, because if we can't get equipment in.
And then doing what with it?
And right, and then, you know.
Having a fire or.
Yeah. I mean, there is some equipment, you know, but it's specialized equipment
Yeah.
to do that type of tree
You
work.
have to come from
And
other.
it's gonna be,
Other property owners
Yeah.
too, and if you come from.
Yeah.
the west side, no, the east side, you're coming through a swamp.
Mhm.
If you come from the west side, you gotta go through private property as well.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if that's guaranteed.
All right, yeah,
I know it's been a challenge in the past to try and do it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a tricky cemetery location.
yeah.
So that's that, and then the other one is the Bethlehem,
Mhm.
in Hillside, you know, we need to repave Hillside, and then the thought was we would do that when we do Church Street, with equipment right there. In Bethlehem, there was talk at one point about, cause cars do park off the side of the road there.
Yeah.
Their services or for maintenance purposes, about possibly leveling that shoulder and putting like a reclaimed surface in there. Something a little firmer, it's kind of grass now, sort of.
Yeah. It's not bad, but there's nothing, no real spot there.
We can do that when we do the next overlay on Back Meadow.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. That's, everybody's favorite property reval.
These are just my estimated amounts going out the door, in those 3 years. I mean, we know what the contract price is.
Right.
But I don't think we'll have a challenge with the balance currently and, I don't think we'll get behind in 28. So funding it at 30,000 for the next, well, I should see it for all those years, because there'll be another one coming up at some point too. That's 230 right now. The market will kind of decide and how we approach the outset of that will matter too. Like, do we increase our annual operating to have the assessors doing the annual work to include reviews every quarter, essentially, and every 4 years of doing a more thorough refresh and update on the values? Do we wait for, you know, the valuation to get so out of whack that we do another reval? There's ways to kind of stay ahead of it.
Yeah.
That might avoid hundreds of thousands of dollars in the future, but it will require higher annual contributions. And so right now the focus is getting through the contracted cost, coming up. As it is there, I'm projecting out 30 grand each year for those next 5 years and kind of keeping that a steady.
Kind of simple math, yeah. Yeah. All right. Payroll liability, we're holding off on that one right now for.
Yeah, my thought on that would be to look at and have a warrant article this year. There's some health insurance lines in certain departments that are well underspent just because of the nature at which employees have opted in.
Yeah.
And so was gonna propose a warrant article at town meeting that would allow the transfer of unexpended health insurance premiums essentially to go into this. And so
Into
we'd
this,
avoid
into this reserve.
funding it with future money and just use currently approved money
Gotcha,
essentially.
yeah, instead of, and just taking, instead of having the carryover funds over.
That's money from
General
the
funds.
fiscal year we're in today.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a wise idea, yeah.
And then it puts it off, and it's, so I mean, the idea of this is it kind of creates a balance, so in a given year, when you do have. Say one or two employees at a single coverage, and all of a sudden, they have get married and have a kid or something like that, dramatically changes their opportunity for coverages, that all of a sudden goes from like a $13,000 town expense to 29, 30,000. So
Yeah.
we're not gonna budget operating wise, because we had in the past for that higher number. The idea was to build a reserve so that in a given year, the board could then appropriate it if
Yeah,
needed.
we
from
can use
here,
this to cover that.
And use it more as a tool that way. But it could fund buyouts if, under contracts, if you have those, as it has in the past, other things that, can't account for and don't wanna over budget for every year.
Yeah, and then you don't end up padding those operating costs to cover it. No, so that's fair enough. That's it's. Yeah, all right. Yep. All right. So I was thinking, I'll throw this out here. We've got, should the full next week, right? What's next week?
Next week's a regular meeting and a long one. We got a few things stacked up next week.
Yeah, okay, so, and we slated for 4:30 for a budget meeting for that, yeah, so I'm thinking maybe if we can.
come back with a full board. I hate moving stuff without all of us here, you know, so maybe come back with a full board and go through, we focus on capital, and we get capital. Whatever suggestions are made, whatever, and move that, maybe get through those before in that hour, what we can do. So, purpose of this meeting, we wanna go back and start with, back to, operating and. Back to the beginning of the book? Sure. The other pages.
We're here, we get time.
Yeah, we get time, it's 5:30, yeah, we get through, get through some of this and, anybody have any other question on anything on capital? Any of the previous things we went
Before
through?
we dive into the operating.
Yeah.
I just had this thought when I was walking up, it was like a loose end I had from last week was, did we want to try to set a target in terms of what we want for an overall increase? I know we talked about it and.
Yeah.
And then I didn't get the sense
We didn't really hash anything out, which is hard, I know, I mean, I guess.
because right now we're looking at, with the Andy, it's 8%.
About roughly 8%, yeah,
And
overall, yeah.
And then. I mean, I don't know, I mean, I know the health insurance piece is just 9% increase that's already baked in across the board.
Right.
Which is just.
Yeah, there's stuff that's gonna skew.
I mean, you're already
Yeah.
like shoveling against that tide
Yeah.
and then.
It's so hard because.
And then you did for maintenance, all the capital, a lot of the capital stuff we're catching up on, so.
Yeah.
But last year's increase for the taxes was what? It was
9?
I mean, on our side, yeah, it was.
well, what people are interested in is the overall.
They are, and I think, yeah, I mean,
It's
just
including the schools and
how you think about, approaching the municipal side at the, well, just under 40% of the tax bills impact, like.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to balance,
Yeah.
and, if we could focus as one of the smaller shares of the tax bill, like, yes, what can you look at, what's the target, where do you wanna get it to, what's reasonable, what's manageable? At the end of the day, the majority of it is out of this board's control. So I mean, I just say, because I have seen towns where we'll take and reduce ours by X because the school's going up by Y, at the detriment of municipal.
Yeah,
services.
and
It's like
I'm not-
finding that balance between. like,
Right, I think what Dan's saying, like, I think, comparing to last year, like, we're looking at the municipal share is 8%, it's only we can control, like, the overall, if the school budget goes up 25% again. That we can't reduce the municipal budget appropriately to offset, to get a target of the overall, but we can only compare apples to apples, like, I think last year the municipal share was, what,
Well, last year,
9% or something, maybe?
3.9 to 4.6 or so, if I'm reading this right.
Is that, yeah, I seem to remember like a 9% increase on our share. What page you on that? On 3, oh, there we go. Yeah, go back to the beginning, yeah, 3.
I'm sorry, what page do you want to I'm sorry.
3 or 4
Three.
weight.
Three, just as, because that's a nice little summary.
Yeah.
So it went from 396, if you will, to 4.
Yeah.
Well, being mindful that that's actual, not budgeted. So we would have budgeted a higher number, we didn't spend all.
Oh, okay.
Budgeted that.
Gotcha, yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Nonetheless, it was.
That is
it was
roughly,
still, I
it's
think,
a,
roughly 9%.
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I remember being right
Yeah.
around 9%, so,
and that's what,
yeah.
it's sort of within our control,
Mhm.
more or less.
Yeah,
Except for this,
right,
two words that.
except for all that and all the,
Right.
yeah,
It was almost
So-
equally split between capital and operating, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah. So it's, I mean, if you pose a good question, and it's like, if we set it, let's say we threw a target out, so we wanna hold steady at 5%, how do we get there?
yeah,
And then it's what do you?
about 5%, and we need to find out, what we figured, $80,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
From your budget.
Yeah.
To get to 5%, to hold
And
it at 5%.
it's, maybe there's small things here and there, and it's just hard, it's like, there's not a lot of fat.
It's not. I mean,
There isn't,
It's hard to find.
I can say happily that the revenue sharing numbers came out, projections came out last week. And what I had in the workbook here is $30,000 less than what the projections are
Okay.
for next fiscal year.
That's helpful.
So there's 30 grand more.
Yeah. And,
Yeah,
maybe-
impact. And then I know on the other revenue piece, we did look into, Cheryl looked into the excise tax.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
And that one was one that we were budgeting for 515 on revenue, but we're trending up at the 560
Yeah,
roughly.
yeah.
So that one's another one that, you know, potentially you could go up on.
Yeah.
Again,
Well,
Yeah, I mean, you won't, you don't have to go all the way, but you can go like 25 or something, and there you go, 30, 25, pretty soon, right up to
right.
45.
Well, it makes that, you know, the
That-
cuts a little bit easier to think about, if you're trying to- if you can make some of that up with
Yeah.
revenue.
Yeah.
If we could revisit, fire station on 30 out of 50, I wouldn't, yeah, I forgot I'm gonna revisit that with the pumping station upgrade. Because we had,
Capital, right?
yeah, under capital, sorry, yeah, 30 out of 50. And that was one where I remember a question mark, because last week we had talked about the county funds, right? So there was the appropriation or the proposal there was what, 150,000?
For the funding, yeah, 150 funding level, yeah.
Yeah, but in part that was to cover that 135, right? Possibly.
In part, but I also had the 120,000 offsetting it. I was a little ambitious at the time, thinking that maybe we would use some of that county money then, which I now have confirmation we can.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's already accounting for some of that. I mean, I do not know now that we can probably go up to 135.
With the 120 to 135.
Yeah, we got two projects for managing with the county money. One's that corner lot at Church and Main for housing design. And then this wastewater upgrade. So as long as
Okay, so you got, yeah, estimate expenditure.
I am accounting for some of the offset already for revenue for that pump station.
Yeah,
That can go up a little bit more. I do know John was closer to 300,000 on the driveway resurface number, and I upped mine from the 200 to 225. There's just a lot of uncertainty
That
what's underneath.
I think they're gonna run into
Um,
base issues probably with that one. That's gonna be,
So I would be cautious about,
yeah, okay.
doing too much different there.
Yeah, that's fine. I remember I had a question in my head about going back to that, going, well, we've got some offset there, is that, yeah, all right. So,
Okay, see if we spend all of that at those numbers, you know, we have a $65,000 balance, which is pretty good. The future cost there, the big number in there is the possibility of housing with some grant offset. That was totally just a conversation. Let's not lose sight of the vision of wanting to see something like that go in. That number's just as broad, this much per square foot in an estimate on square
Yeah.
footage. So,
Okay.
that certainly could change a little bit for this year. As it's presented, we'd have 65,000 left, so you could do a little bit less potentially. I think we're more at the 135. You know, so if that went down to 130.
The 150 to 130.
Yeah, I think you'd still be comfortable. Leaving some room for the unknown. I mean, I do worry about what's underneath there and
Oh, yeah.
having to overshoot it, so it's a little bit of, you know,
Yeah.
basically, we get the current numbers here, we'd be going into it with an extra 15 on the grant. You'd be at $80,000 contingency basically for that driveway project.
Yeah.
Um,
Depends, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's
It
just,
depends on how, that's a different.
knowing where
like,
it's built,
hey, we only need 6 inches of material, or we need 4 feet of material, right? Yeah.
I think it could dramatically
Yeah.
change the
And that
next.
80,000 is gone. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, I think, I don't know, I'm trying to go back in history here, a few, 4, 5, 6 years ago, I remember, you know, we went through capital, I remember at one point it was like Josh and I or something, we shaved out, like, well, let's reduce that by 2,000, let's do, it was odd numbers, but I don't remember it amounting to, like, moving the needle, right? That much, you know, from percentage point, it wasn't like it was 3%, it might have been a half or a tenth, you know, it wasn't a lot, but, yeah. It just, yeah, I know, it's tough. But I think to your point, I mean, yeah, the as low as we can get it, the better, but how,
Well,
what is that? Yeah,
well,
what is that
right,
number? Yeah.
No, but I'm personally committed to funding the capital reserves at adequate levels
Mhm.
over time.
Yeah.
Because it just makes sense.
So they've been underfunded,
Yeah.
that's what the frustrating part is,
Yeah.
they have been underfunded.
But then again, I'm sensitive to half the people I run into in town,
Yeah.
you know, having to my property tax. But
Oh, yeah. Well, we all
we're all paying.
we're all paying it. I know, we're all paying it.
We've got a couple
Yeah.
of people on the budget committee that are,
Yeah.
that are ready to bring out the pitchforks.
Yeah, I get it, I get it, and part of it too is like, we gotta, yeah, now it's beyond what, the scope of what we're doing here, but. Then it's the revenue side, you know, the outside
Right.
revenue.
Yeah, no,
There's so much, yeah.
on the parking lot for there right away, that.
Yeah.
Look at fee schedule.
Yeah, we're, I was talking to
Yeah.
Michael about it today and, you know, our target is to
Do it
have
before,
something
do it soon.
for the approval at
Well-
the first meeting in June for the select board. So between now and then, it's just a matter of Mike and Michael have already been going through it with their view. From the building code permit side, and
Yeah.
there's a number of other things that we gotta look at.
I think that's, you know, well, I think it's gonna be helpful to, well, for all of us, but, you know, taxes have been increasing, and I think what. I don't say we've been putting stuff away, but, you know, we've talked about pilot, we've talked about, fee scheduling, they're not huge amounts, but, to really get some teeth into that to show that like, yeah, we're trying to find some revenue on the other side of it somewhere to offset some of the stuff. Cause it's not an easy conversation when taxes go up every year and, you know, you're jumping the mill rate 2%. And then you come back and say, well, what do we do to offset it? Haven't done anything yet. We're talking about it.
Right.
I think people are ready to see, you know, that's why I know like the joint meetings where, the fee schedule came up multiple times and it seems like it's relatively low hanging fruit. We just
Well,
need time to do it.
Yeah, I know,
To go through it, so.
I mean, somebody's gonna be upset about it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's just-
So that's stuff we should workshop fairly soon and,
Yeah.
and look at it anytime. It's just been pushed around on the agenda, so a lot of other things going on,
Yeah.
well,
yeah.
it's very important, to people, you know? Okay. Yeah. So then, to answer your question, I don't know what that number is, but if you. I don't know, I mean, I.
160.
Yeah, I can
Roughly.
I can defend cost of living at 3 or 4%,
Yeah.
easy.
Across the board, right.
You know, I
Simple-
don't mean across the board,
Yeah.
but I mean, if the municipal budget increased by 4 or 5%,
Yeah,
you could say, you know, I know it's,
No,
I know it's a little bit, but. You know, we're funding the capital and we're
Yeah.
doing these things and.
yeah, that's what I mean, like, you look at just like the general cost of living increases.
If anyone thinks it's gonna be zero or if it's going down,
It's not,
it's
yeah.
not, it
Yeah.
can't.
And that's what we got caught with the CBA a few years ago with that cost of living increase, and then when it went from, what was it, 9, we were planning on 1.5.
Yeah.
It had been like 1.2, 1.5, and all of a sudden it went to 9, 10%
Yeah,
during that. So you went, oh,
Yeah.
that was,
But, you know,
Yeah.
but if we decided to, 4 or 5%,
Yeah.
then that's probably fine. 5, but that would put you down 80, right, or something like that.
Yeah, we're
5,
108 million overall. The expenditures, so we're just looking at expenditures, and
Well-
look at the offsetting revenue, just with that total.
Yeah, but,
Where is it?
but I'd include the work
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I mean,
We're in that
we're
number.
about 100,000.
So around 100,000, get us down to.
Yeah, and if you can-
5,
If you can gain an extra 30 on the revenue sharing and
Mhm.
another 25 potentially on the excise tax.
Yep.
You're halfway there.
Yeah.
You're left with what, 45,000 roughly?
Okay,
45.
Yeah,
so that's something where we can look at certain
Yeah,
places.
2,000, and that's a nice number.
Nice round number, it was all the time. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We're not focusing on the revenue side now.
No, it's. Well, we can do whatever, I'm wondering how much we wanna go through. What I worry about too with having 2 members missing right now is coming back and like we go too much into operating, we're gonna be going back through the same stuff again
Yeah,
without.
throw out there too, I think the budget committee, they didn't get to meet Monday.
They didn't get to
They're
meet.
meeting next Monday. There is a kind of a finite deadline to try and get it, so unless there's more meetings, it's just a matter of making sure that they've got the time they need to consider your recommendation.
Yeah, yeah. I don't wanna, I think, I don't wanna bite off too much. Going into, if we go into next meeting and we're focusing on maybe the capital we've already gone over with the other 2 members and getting stuff moved. And we get too far ahead into operating and then we rehash, yeah, so, I suppose, you mentioned some revenue, do you have some questions on revenue, we can look
Well,
at?
no, well, I just wanna think about things like, you know, we,
Well,
in the past,
let's take a look at it, because that, I mean, we can do that now and not go too far ahead of ourselves.
Whether people
Yeah.
are, you know, we've talked about a business, a license. I guess,
Yeah.
just so that we know what
Yeah.
businesses we have in
Yeah.
town,
right,
it doesn't have to be a lot, but if you said it was $100, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah, I'm flipping through here somewhere.
but how many businesses are there in town?
I don't think, at least three.
So, at least three, and it's probably 500. No, it's
I guess
probably,
where you draw your line on, you know,
what is a business?
well, yeah, I mean, it's the
Yeah.
sole proprietors that work out of their home and truck, I mean, is that our target audience in
Or
doing
does it have to
that?
be something that's?
15 out of 108. Yeah, 15 out of 108.
Is it anybody who files? Or is it a revenue number? Is it over $5,000 or something? For business, or 10, you know, I don't know, something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can measure it by revenue, you can measure it by location, I suppose, but I don't think that that's quite right these days, because a lot of businesses are.
I think, you know,
Or does it have to be like a Schedule C or partnership or a partnership or something, I don't know, corporation, which. That doesn't
Are-
say either,
Are there any fees?
but if you had $100 times
300.
300,
30 grand.
there's 30 grand.
Yeah.
And that's $100, just, and that's just so the town knows where the businesses are. And then you can, then you get personal property tax that might come along behind that as well.
Yeah.
As a thought. And then the Airbnb or the short-term rental registration. It's the same reason you can argue with public safety in terms of fire and police. It's like, who's.
Yeah,
who's
no,
having
the
people in there?
population who's here and who's there.
Yeah, who's renting out all the time. And you could keep it just a nominal amount, $100 too, and if there's another couple hundred Airbnbs, in which people believe that that's the case.
Mhm.
Then there's another $20,000, so, so it's just, I know. Public hearing will be interesting on both of those, but that's fine.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's,
But
Right.
there's a reason for both of them.
there's a reason why, yeah, and.
You know, towns and cities need to know
Yeah.
who's doing what.
And the other thing.
Well, I think the public safety piece is a legitimate argument to that.
Yeah,
Is public
Yeah.
safety, and, the other thing that, you know, and I don't know if we talked in the meetings for, but, you know, the proposals like looking at a business license, I know, looking at it from a business point of view, they're gonna be looking at that, you know, okay, what's and we've seen times where there's been a partnership, where, you know, knowing what the businesses are doing or who's there, there's times where there's been grants available, there's certain things that like. Yeah, the town could, you know, I'm not saying that we're doing business for them, but there's things that like, oh, yeah, that's available under this, you know, whatever, this department, and there's some, you know, what's the community law,
Community development block.
community development law, right, yeah, so we have one with, thank you, I can never pronounce it correctly, yeah, and that was a fun, I mean, that was really, actually. You know, it felt good to be able to do that and get that out there, so, you know, up and coming business, but. So there are things available that you can, to avoid that perception that like. We just need the money to come in to offset, you know, what else are there other things that we can, you know, the town can provide, just to make sure that it's doesn't just look like an offsetting money grab, which I get it, it's, I think it's necessary, it's gonna have to happen. But, you know, finding out what that partnership is, are there fees, like if we're looking at. The revenue on 15 and stuff, if I know we're getting. Trying to stick it under revenue, but as far as fee scheduling, there's certain things that are gonna be set at state or federal level that we can't. Just for an exercise if we're going into it later on, there's certain things that can't be adjusted,
Excise tax.
yeah.
And the state says what that'll be set at,
Mhm.
road excise tax, vehicle excise tax, vital fees, I'm pretty sure are set by
Okay,
state, clerks, she's gonna limit us on the clerk's fees, agent fees.
Yeah. Okay, so you said, yeah, excise, yeah, I know excise tax, both excise taxes, right?
Interest in tax, on tax and liens is not to exceed a certain percentage, and the town,
Yeah, we set
I
that.
think, sets it at the max allowed. Some towns choose less.
Yeah, so what, 4% or something, 3-4%?
I think it's, it was as low as that within the last couple of years, it gets up to 7 this coming year.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's been as high as 8, I recall, in the recent memory, it was low as, I think, 4. Dog license fees are set by the state.
Yeah, that's right, dog license, yeah.
Everything in planning is up to us.
I said, a lot of it's gonna be, if there's anything, any meat to it, a lot of it's gonna be like the planning department stuff, right? And
That's one,
Everything, yeah.
for sure, yeah, any ordinance enforcement in the PD, and tickets written for like parking, for example. 100% that goes back to us, any tickets written for, state violations, speeding tickets, vehicle.
Yeah, that all gets-
defects, that all
yeah.
goes to the state, we don't get any of that.
yeah, that's great.
That might be a fun one to try and advocate for, direct reimbursement or
Should we-
direct
Yeah,
sharing of some of those revenues, when we're up, enforcing
Yeah.
state statutes.
I'm sure the state would love to give that up, yeah.
Here.
It should be, yeah, this percentage goes back to the municipality,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
And the EV charge is a little unknown right now.
yeah.
We probably don't have enough history there to.
Yeah, I wouldn't even include that.
No, I
one.
think this
Just-
summer's
just-
gonna be
just-
big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna hope that it's well beyond and above what the current last 2 months has been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's encouraging, but it's like,
Yeah.
what can it do?
Yes.
But I mean, that in a perfect world, I budgeted that to be cost neutral. In a perfect world, and the way we
That's a
look at it,
safe-
it would be
Yeah,
net.
we want it to be a net positive, but exactly, we budgeted to pay for itself, but
And a net positive, you might even want to send up a, not just gonna say sinking fund, but some sort of
For the future.
for the future.
Yeah.
well, yeah,
That's what I-
again, yeah, that's gonna be one that,
Yeah.
well, whatever, 10
Yeah.
years or something.
I think that was
you
one of the
know,
notes I had for this
Yeah.
town meeting was to create the reserve fund for charge, unless we want to just have it in one of the like waterfront improvement fund.
Well, we get the generic, the waterfront improvement, it could be
I mean, you could
Could be
do
that one if we get them all together, there's already funds in there, so,
Everything that goes on down in that little.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then lump that all into
yeah.
one place, yeah, would make sense.
Yeah.
With this fees, okay. So, yeah, so I mean, other than, the business license, which we don't currently have, which needs to be worked out, I mean, you look at like the planning department, building permits, things like that, and. You know, the big question is making sure we're. For the base fees, we're covering costs,
Mhm.
you know, you're making sure that staff time is covered and things like that, and that's, and then. What else, I guess, you know? Okay,
Yeah, there'll be a factor that we need to consider applying to the property valuations this year. If we don't,
Yeah.
we're at risk because we're below 60%.
We're gonna be
at
below
risk of losing that 12.5. We're benchmarking for tree growth reimbursement. That could disappear entirely if we go below a certain ratio.
Yeah.
Homestead and Betty will continue to decrease if that value stays low. So it's not at 100%. It's not gonna be at 100% next year, I'm sure. But our goal is to not lose what we've been getting at least anymore. Until the reval happens. So revenue sharing's up about 30 grand from what I had here.
okay,
And projected, but we're gonna use the number as they share it with us.
right, yeah, I would say you're better off to project under on revenue. Anyway, just to be safe, right?
And maybe you mentioned already, but the homestead exemption reimbursement.
Yeah, so that is what it is. That's all built into the tax commitment form. So I'm putting a number in there to show a balanced budget. That's a big asterisk on that one, and revenue sharing and Betty. So those ones are kind of out of our control in the sense that you should just use the number they give you for revenue sharing. And the other two are just formula driven based on
Okay.
your it's either $25,000 at a max for the homestead times the number of homesteads. Here's the value. The state reimburses a known percentage.
It's,
Yeah.
but 70%.
76%.
There was one of the bills I read that it was 100%.
Yeah, so it's
They're trying to
been
get more money back.
all over the place. There's been talk about, state created that program a couple of years ago for what they call it, property tax stabilization
Mhm.
program over a certain age, didn't have any income qualifications with it, and
Yeah.
quickly
Oh, yeah,
realized
that
that
was
they
it.
weren't gonna be able to fund it.
Well, they pushed it through without the funding.
And so there's been a lot of talk since then to up the homestead and put some of those merits into the homestead to allow an additional value of homestead for those qualifying based on age, maybe an income. There's been talk about increasing the tax credit on the income tax side, because you're reporting your income there, you don't have to report to someone else. That's not quite the same, but it
It
is
doesn't
in the
go
long
to
run.
the town, it just goes to people's
Right.
pockets, but it's
Yeah.
still good.
But yeah, those numbers there are probably, those will be different. I held them the same as this year's budget.
I was
because
just looking at the
it is what
homestead.
it is. It has,
Yeah, you said it was, we got 193 or something this year.
that's what it
Actual,
looks like.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is, it's a nice little
About
pop.
175, got 193, yeah.
Yeah. That one's driven solely by your tax calculation form, like it'll tell you what you're gonna put in there, and you have to automatically, it's just baked in to reduce the tax impact.
Yeah.
I do know there's a short stack of new applications, for this year coming up, there's probably 20-25 new ones.
Okay.
So that's 24% of that value, that will be funding.
Right.
The tax base will be funding.
Right, yeah.
So the 100% would be great if state could reimburse all of it, but.
Right. The veterans organization reimbursement, let's ring a bell.
I asked Ed the other day, 'cause we see we got two there, it's an organization reimbursement and then just an exemption
Yeah.
reimbursement, and. I don't know if we kind of like interchange which one it actually is, there's one of them in the statute that allows for reimbursement for certain qualifying organizations.
Mhm.
But then there's just the exemption from the tax programs that exist for the state created to offset some of that impact. That's not driven through the tax calculation form. We submit our MVR report every year and the state works off of that and
Is that
reimburses.
for having like the non-taxable, like having the Legion or something?
That I assume is like the organization.
That's the organization, yeah, so having, and then they offset, yeah.
And the veterans exemption is more on that property tax.
Property tax.
Exemption allowance.
Yes, gotcha, yeah. So, yeah, cause those, it seems like that would be, yeah, those were swapped, it would be the same, it's about the same amount,
Correct.
yeah, so it's just categories. Good. Does any have any questions, concerns, comments, about revenue, anything while we're? Well, we need more?
Just the same we had. and-
Questions, I don't know, concern,
Change the numbers here.
concern, yes.
Concerns, right, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's, there's a lot to work on.
and maybe this doesn't impact anything, but. I know you mentioned the UFB, you call it
Yeah,
the.
undesignated
undesignated.
Yeah.
You just plugged in 105,
Yeah, so
and we've been doing 150 forever.
Yep. So what I do, I proposed it last year as well, if I go and just pick take the last page of the admin budget and just throw the page 26 of
Okay.
26.
So last year attempted to map out where there are, even though the warrant articles aren't written quite this way, like offsetting revenues for certain departments, right? And so undesignated fund balance, you see there towards the bottom.
Yeah.
At 8,500.
Yeah.
And so the website build fee was a 3-year cost to spread that 15 grand investment in that. This coming FY 27 will be the third of that third year payment, and so that's not an expense we're gonna have in 28. And so I was suggesting those kind of shorter term, non-recurring expenses maybe be used to cover with fund balance. And then the single audit is not something presumably we gotta do every year. It's actually 5 grand, not 3,500, if we have to do one. But with the amount of money we took in from the EDA project, it was 1.2 million, it was above the 750,000, so we're gonna have to do a single audit for that
Yeah,
activity.
well, that would be a nice problem to have then.
It would be, that cost for a single audit, I would suggest we take fund balance, because I don't think it'll be an every year thing. It would be great for the taxpayers to know that we've got that much coming in from.
Right.
Reimbursement. The small, expense to get that kind of money.
Right, yeah, that's good pay off.
So that's how my number's up to the 105 and change, versus the 150.
Okay, so that's just the sum total of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worry about using 150 without correlating it to anything in particular, because it feels like we're using it more as a revenue source, and it really is a scary one to assume that you're always gonna have the 150.
Yeah.
If you get a year where the fund balance and the auditor recommends, geez, I don't think you should do 150, you should do 100, that's a $50,000 hole, you've gotta make that
Yeah,
or raise. And so is that.
but we have
How
a
do you-
pretty healthy fund balance. Yeah. According to our auditors, the last time. we spoke to them on that.
They've been happy with it.
Yeah.
Compared to other towns that.
The most recent one, 3 years ago, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, sure.
We know. Yeah. Cheryl and I are both still working on and kind of get an estimate for 4 and 5, based, we know what 23's ending fiscal year and fund balances, and so, yeah, we're trying to
But
manage that out.
yeah, and this one historically, yeah, it's been good and solid. The trends have been.
Yeah.
Very, very good. So it's.
Yeah, and maybe that's, and that realistically, that's the last number you drop in anyways, right, from us?
Yes.
When we said the,
Yeah, typically you
No
look
rate.
at it,
Yeah.
I mean, you have to look at it at the time you do the warrant, you have to know how much you're gonna raise from fund
Right,
balance.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, the mill rate, you thinking, well, you think of the overlay.
Yeah.
We do an overlay, yeah, the overlay is, yeah, it's a little different there, yeah.
Oh, right,
Yeah, yeah, I get where you're, yeah, they get.
it's coming out of the fund balance though, still, right?
Yeah.
The overlay you're raising from, you have all of your expenses, school, town, county, all of that. Overlay is almost like another expense.
It's like a buffer expense, yeah.
So you're not pulling it from fund balance, you're actually putting it into, by raising that overlay, you're essentially putting it into the fund balance.
Oh, okay.
And some places have to use it because their fund balance is so low, they have to fund the overlay.
They have to sort of like top it off,
Yeah,
and,
okay,
okay,
they're not at that point.
yeah,
That's
So
good.
no.
I am reminded, in the budget questions document that, posted a couple of times that folks can see those questions that are coming in, so. The auditor's recommendation is 3 months, a balance of your 3 months of expenses.
Mhm.
And I put it in there, that's about $3.1 million. So that's roughly your target for your fund balance.
Yeah,
That's
And-
three.
And what was it in 2022 or 23?
23.
It's
23, 2.3 million, I believe, 23.
Okay.
Yeah, 2.34 million in 23.
Okay,
Uh,
alright,
So still, yeah. We're in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing is, there's places that have to do tax anticipation notes. You've maybe heard about some of the counties.
oh,
here in the
Washington,
state that are facing some of those challenges.
Yeah.
We are not in that situation, but towns can get themselves there quickly if you were using that fund balance as a revenue source and not being mindful of a healthy balance.
pulling out of it, yeah.
Some have policies dictating what it must fall within.
yeah,
I'm grateful that the town is kept, there's where it's at. It's
Right.
nice.
right,
So it is very possible you could choose to put a little more from fund balance to
well,
do some of that number and to get it to the 5. If you're off by 0.5%, you want to get it there. And you could look
Yeah,
at
that's a
that.
place where you could.
yeah,
do
but
it.
that's a discussion for a couple later,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
alright,
all right. Well, I mean, I hesitate to dive into operating without everybody here and then going into next week with
We don't have much to give to the budget committee though.
I know. Yeah.
I got a fair amount to give them, and I think, I'm hoping there will be, some questions and dialogue off of what they heard. To understand more and think about it more. If there's any of the more obvious ones that you wanna recommend to them to get some things through, you think of things like debt service and contingency over, hydrants, some of those types of.
Yeah,
things.
I'll move debt service.
Yeah, yeah, as far as revenue, I mean, we can go back and look at, some of these are just, we're just moving them to move, right? Then,
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
we could do that.
We're gonna pay that. We're gonna pay our
Yeah,
budget
yeah,
in next, and
Yeah. Well, depends on where you, I guess the debt service is an easy one, that's on, I gotta find the master page here. Yeah. I put too far back,
Yeah, it should be right before your tab there. We're pretty close.
yeah. The first section, yeah, really.
You know,
Anything? Good lord. Here's the overall one. The budget goes even bigger.
they're not making it.
No, I think they're great, it's all,
oh, you mean the overall one?
It should be like the last one. Look before that tab. My book doesn't have it. We have the number presented, it's just, a sheet that I'm going for it, for some reason.
You know, it's just,
What do you have in front of that tab?
finish,
Nope, in the middle of the book, there's that tab.
this one?
This tab, I have right in front of that.
community
That's the
services,
capital.
community services,
What are you looking
Yeah.
for?
debt service.
Community service,
I have it on 13 of 108, if that's.
13/108.
Yeah, I think I
If
might,
that's
I'll have to print those out, I don't, must not be in there. And we have it in the spreadsheet, we know what it is.
yeah.
And I don't have a single page for it for some reason.
13/108.
At the top of-
That's,
Creating.
yeah, but that's not the individual number, that's a summary, is that the one? That's just a summary.
That's the, yes, that's the proposed number there, the 191,
Oh, yeah, 171, 175.
Yeah, okay, I was hoping for that.
Yeah, I would,
I got lost in here, yeah.
No, I think it's, you can probably stop, it must, for some reason not be in there.
okay,
I just wanted to print it out for folks, so.
okay,
It's a straightforward page, it's good,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
road debt.
yeah, that's
Bond.
one bond,
Right,
so.
yeah, the other
Yeah,
one,
I-
streetlights got
I
paid
know
off.
if we pay the bond.
Yeah.
For this year.
I don't think we have to show pictures.
I
signed that thing.
That's easy.
Sheriff, I signed that thing, so the town doesn't move it.
Let's do that one.
191, 130.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
I'm
then,
not sure that moves the needle much for the.
Oh, that's a flat one.
all right, so did you make a motion?
I did.
Remove the 191, 135.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
Carol's gonna second, any discussion? Let's talk about that one, all right, all those in favor? And, okay, so we're proposing 191, 135 with that.
Okay. Well,
Lost.
well. Well, we can work backwards if it's.
Yeah, or do we
Or you
have
could
in,
Or we could just come back. You're up.
we had in, yeah, cause we didn't have anything concrete in capital, right? And we saw some things that
other than the ones that weren't funded. Oops. Like we could move, well, yeah, we could move waterfront at 0. And again, it doesn't, it just doesn't give them.
No, it doesn't give
work on.
No, it does
No.
no, I don't think it makes sense.
Yeah, that's just going through the motion, so, yeah.
Yeah, like I can move general assistance, 5,000. No,
GA, yeah.
yeah,
Especially be considering that's no direct taxing.
right,
Right, yeah. Yeah, so.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna give them much.
Are there any particular department, the ones that you got a lot of questions about, you wanna start, just put out there now? So we can get some answers for the next time.
Right, yeah.
Eight down there.
Well, I'm looking at just 12, that's kind of the overview of the departments and the funding.
oh,
It's not the breakdown, we get, if we want anything particular, we gotta go in a little bit deeper with them, I just see anything jumps out,
well, I mean, I think, no,
yeah, I don't
I
know.
I know the ones I don't have questions about, probably, and I mean, insurance is gonna be insurance. Solid waste is gonna be solid waste. Um. Well, we'll talk about police, have to talk about hydrants is hydrants, so. EMA is not much, it's not much there. Streetlights are streetlights, right?
Yeah, the fire got a pretty big
Does the
variance.
streetlights have that?
The
highway?
fire strikes me, department we're gonna have to talk about.
$2 difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better fix that $2.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna have.
I guess the question with the fire department is a question we're gonna take out a bond for the fire truck, right?
I mean, that's right now what we're planning to do.
Yeah.
The town's given the authorization for Cheryl and I to sign away a bond if, when the time comes. We don't plan to do that until we receive it or come
Yeah.
close to receiving it.
Yeah.
Which is in 2029.
Yeah.
I am hopeful that there's some other creative ways to fund it without having to do bond.
Yeah.
I've got my eyes set on trying to get an earmark potentially if we can qualify for that. We signed a contract already, it's a little bit of a question mark.
Yeah.
But also had to because it was 4-year build time.
Yeah.
Right.
See, I would move everything in public safety except the fire department right now. I mean, cause it's the animal control officer, we're not gonna change that, that's contract, right?
Everything about fire?
Yeah.
What's about the fire operating budget that we have questioned?
Oh, not a lot, but there's just a lot. Somebody else might wanna have
Oh,
questions, just cause.
Oh, I don't know if you had any specific questions.
No, I'm
still hung up on that $2.
No, I'm not hung up on the $2, but
Yeah.
I don't think, I mean, I would feel comfortable moving everything but the fire department without the other two here. Cause no one's gonna question the animal control, EMA, hydrants, streetlights, traffic lights.
Yeah, yeah.
The ambulance.
Well,
service.
let's take a
It's
look
what
at
it
the
is.
fire department and
It
just
is
if
what
there's
it is.
anything that.
It is what it is, so,
That might be jumping out there,
Fire's up about 5,000 from.
Yeah.
Year.
because there may be.
From last year?
From, yeah, this year,
Yeah.
yeah, this.
yeah, I mean,
There may not be much there.
no, I mean, then, that's, I mean, that's the best
Hold up
deal here.
here,
That's the best deal in town right there. Fire department.
yeah. So, see which. Fire department, not too far.
Thank you very far, is it?
Management.
84.
So close.
84?
Next one. 85.
There we go. Thank you, Andy. So,
Yeah,
I got into a subsection, appendix A, and I was all, what is? So fire
Put more
department,
tabs in next year, I think.
We'll have to up our supply, then put more tabs in.
Yeah, it's it.
yeah, so it's not a whole. It's right there, too far. Services. Yeah, I mean, they're all,
we beat that run up pretty good.
2%.
Yeah, I think we did.
I honestly, I think we'd be safe to move that entire,
Yeah, I think
of public safety.
I think we can.
I feel like there was a lot of discussion on that.
Yeah, there was with,
Yeah.
I think they're.
Yep.
We're,
I'm good with that.
yeah,
Move the entire public safety
yeah.
budget as proposed.
So which number, you were doing the manager proposal?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the extra $2. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, trying to see it again here.
And unless you just want to
Yeah.
reconcile to John's number.
Are you moving all public safety?
So,
Yeah.
Dan, if you just, if you make your motion with the number on there,
Okay, I'm gonna remove public safety budget, which includes everything that control, fire, EMA, hydrants, streetlights, traffic lights, and the ambulance service at the I was gonna say that.
540.
Who do I want the $2 to go?
Just note that the traffic and streetlights are actually gonna be, for this year's upcoming funding is gonna be out of the public works.
Right,
Historically, they-
oh yeah, because there's 0 here though.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine. So at the 544.3, we want 58 or 60.
Give him the $2.
I give it to my 360 level.
Okay, all right.
I'll second that.
Daryl's gonna second that, any discussion? Yeah, all those in favor? All right, so we've moved, 544, 360 for public safety.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a safe one, I think there's been a lot of discussion and.
Yeah.
Fire department's pretty tight, I mean, 2%,
I
What are we gonna do with that?
Really
Yeah.
critical down.
Yeah.
and that's like, what, $2 an hour more for the officers, I mean, for the,
Yeah, and we moved debt service already, right? The road repair.
Yeah, did that service, that's out,
Um,
um.
Yeah, we'll offer again, if there's any significant questions among any of the departments, if there's things that, will warrant
Yeah.
us to look for more information, this extra week of looking might be helpful.
okay.
If you do want to put any of that up there now for just the questions you have. I know I'm anticipating some probably in admin, probably some in police,
Yeah,
highway.
Yeah, I think those are the areas where that they're just a little more.
So if there's an appetite to try and jump into any one of those, if you have significant questions, if you can put them out there right now, so we can write them down and try and get some answers for them, the whole board's here again. Would save us and give us that extra week just to look into some of that.
yeah, would not, all right. Now, I think, like under Public Works with Biscuit Beach, be inclined to move that one, but I think there was some,
You can't move cemetery maintenance, right?
Not yet.
That's a lot of discussion there. so-
right, yeah,
Still in the contract, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm comfortable moving the streetlights, the traffic lights, because and the Biscuit Beach one.
Under, for Public Works, yeah,
Public Works,
Yeah.
at this point.
yeah, there's not much, that's moved, there's not much changing there, Biscuit Beach is what it is.
Nobody wants to argue
Yeah.
over $200 at Biscuit Beach.
I think that one there's some talk about, because it was outlined in the, comp plan about some improvements there, but I haven't seen any.
None of that's included yet.
Yeah, and there's no map, there's no plan, so it's like, you can't put it in operating anyway, because there's nothing to operate, so that'd be more capital, but yeah, okay.
Yeah,
All right. So Dan, okay, so we're good with street lights, traffic lights in Biscuit Beach.
Yeah.
Then, all right,
Yeah.
I'll, yeah, we're in.
So 14 total.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we can move them all separate, I suppose, if you want. There's 82, we can do the managed proposal, right? There's a department request of 13 too in that, but.
Yeah, the difference between those is whether or not we're taking on operation and maintenance entirely for the.
That was my question. I just,
Still fighting
I didn't
that
want to
one.
ask, because I thought I missed something there, but is that still up in the air with? Have you heard anything?
I need to write that.
Oh,
I told them initially that we aren't.
that wasn't a
Our
figure point.
position, our position is not that we're gonna, is actually that we're not interested in paying any, we don't want to pay any of that.
But this
I told
number-
it verbally, but they said, okay, we'll put it in writing and I.
But this number covers that.
The 13,000 does.
13.
The 8,200
Request.
would cover,
Oh,
would
department
cover the
request.
potential power cost.
So in your
Which is what a lot of
proposal,
other places end up having to do.
so in your proposal, the 82, that would just be
Power,
with no maintenance.
not on those ones.
Okay.
Maintenance on the other ones that we own.
Right, that already, okay.
So can we pass that then?
We can make a motion to approve the 8,200 and, yeah, and just if something happens down the road, it's gonna come out of contingency or.
Yeah, we can drop about 2,200 if we get the green light that DOT will just take care of all of it.
I mean, even from the 8,200 here.
Yeah.
If we
so
get that
the
answer and
82 is a
clarity
certain
between now
number,
and
yeah.
then the budget
Yeah.
process.
All right,
I don't know how they're gonna land on that, but.
well, we can find out, I guess. We don't have the budget for it. Nominal streetlights at 8,200.
Okay.
All right,
Was okay a second?
I need a.
Yes,
I think that was a second, I was gonna say that. Okay.
We're pretty informal here.
All those in.
Double check if that was.
Oh, I thought he was gonna keep going like traffic.
No, I'll just, I'm sure I'll do them individually, it's just like, it's easy for me to keep track, so all those in favor? All right, we got that, I'll move, traffic light funding at 4,200.
I was like,
Wait for, okay.
I was just raising.
okay, okay,
Okay, all right,
okay.
Dan seconds that, any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Question here.
None of you are Tom, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, right.
No, that's fine.
Oh, okay, and then, lastly, yeah, let's do, Biskie Beach at the 1,600.
Second, that's
Second,
fine.
all right,
That's fine.
there you get nothing today,
We'll
yeah.
just keep going.
Any discussion?
No,
Okay, all those in favor?
we'll just move it along.
So we've got, yeah, Biskie, traffic and that one, yeah, cemetery and highway, we're gonna wait on.
We could move solid waste too, right? It's, cause that's a contracted one.
Yeah, so half the year we know the cost, the other half of the year,
Yeah,
we're
we got
getting, it'll be,
that,
I'm putting in a 8% contingency.
So it's a projection.
Contingency,
But we don't have any better,
we don't have any alternatives right now.
We don't, so that's that one, that's one we can.
so maybe a couple of years down the road.
Yeah.
So I'll move solid waste at 211,950.
Okay, get in.
Yeah.
Gary, want that?
I don't.
I'll second.
That's too big a number.
Discussion? Okay, all those in favor? All right, so solid waste is moved, yeah, insurance is another one, right? Can't do anything with that one.
We are, yeah, the only thing we're waiting on that one, it was just clarity and confirmation that we do have the credit applied, for the liability, professional police liability insurance for being accredited.
Oh, okay, you wanna wait on that?
Cheryl's waiting for confirmation.
We can wait on that,
Wait,
it's fine. And the legal is, it's just a single line item, 20,000, right?
Yeah, legals,
Yeah,
yeah, legals, let's see, actual, we've used 13, 24, 21. That 20,000 seems like it's a safe number.
yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve legal for 20,000.
Great, thank you, Darryl.
I'll second that.
Dan's gonna second. All right, discussion, those in favor? Okay, legal insurance.
Did we move general assistance?
That was the next one, cause I think we can, GA is.
move insurance?
Yeah.
No,
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 general
we're
assistance.
holding on,
Yeah,
off
we're
on
gonna hold
insurance,
on, we're gonna hold
yeah,
on.
I marked it.
So
Yes,
just legal for now. So.
yeah, so we're in general, government, we've done, solid waste, legal. We
Yep.
talked about insurance, and we can do GA, I'll, make a motion to, I'll recommend, the motion for 5,000 for general assistance.
Okay. Yeah,
And
second that.
I know what you meant.
I just need to know that okay means you're second.
Okay, yeah.
And the shakings of the head, I can do that.
Okay, all right. Pretty good at deferring here. So, discussion, all those in favor? Okay, so solid waste, legal, GA, I mean, even, contingency is one of those ones too, like. We look at what we've had here, 23, 24, 12, 18, kind of all over the place. You know. 20,000 always seems like it's a. We budgeted 18 and 26, we use 5. So that's a safe one.
You know, 17,4 and 24. Actual.
Yeah. Yeah, actually comes pretty close to it, so it's not a lot,
As I view fund balance, this is one here where I would propose you pull from fund balance, either you raise it and add to fund balance if you don't spend it, or you assume you're not gonna spend it the same amount every year and you can just pull from fund balance. Alternatively, there used to be a warrant article in addition to this, that allowed the board to pull up to a certain number or percentage from fund balance for however it was worded. And so there was like a double contingency at one point in the warrant.
Yeah,
So we struck one, put this one in, but as it's proposed in mine, I'm not proposing like we're raising that from taxation is to come from the fund balance, if that makes.
So it's included in that 105 number.
oh, okay, so the contingency, the 20,000 is in that,
Yeah, I mean, for anyone that's kind of curious, like if we can lower the tax impact as I presented it, it wouldn't lower the tax impact. It would just take less from fund balance.
gotcha, yeah, so that's already existing. Basically existing funding, okay. Yeah. You're allowed. All right, so that one's safe, yeah, that can be whatever it is, and, yeah. All right, I'll make a motion to recommend 20,000 for contingency. I need a second.
Second.
Well, nobody has to second, but there's good, okay, yeah. All right, discussion. All those in favor? Yeah, everybody, yeah.
Probably don't want to tackle fireworks and flowers yet.
No, I think we should leave them guessing.
Those are the hot button ones. I know. Fire truck, boom, no problem. Flowers and
No way.
flowers and fireworks. 1 hour discussion, like, yeah, no, yeah, okay.
That's probably, cause that leaves the admin and assessing and planning, which,
Yeah, those are some bigger ones. Yeah,
And then-
municipal building,
we
police,
moved-
obviously, yeah, we've done.
police, and then the highway department.
Yeah.
Which feels like
Yeah, we did everything with public
it would be good
safety.
to have others' opinion on the highway.
Yeah, those bigger ones, cemetery maintenance waiting on, and then community betterment, we have nothing, that's is what it is there.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
that's something, right? Yeah, to go on.
Thank you.
so give them something to do then,
Yeah.
yeah, honestly.
Yeah, I can look at this, see if we can pretty much take care of everything on the
So you can't, like, yeah, here's the small ones,
Yeah,
and then, we could do, I mean, this is just getting stuff out of the way, but, it doesn't matter, the front, and
yeah.
those are,
Property revamp.
yeah. Yeah, that one,
But that's buried in one of these, though.
that's in the,
No.
No, it's not.
capital.
So page 13 of 108, yeah, so there's a summary view there.
Oh, I see, yeah.
All the reserves.
Oh, yeah, you've got the reserves here. Well, I keep flipping around there. That's right. I'm just looking at that. So, yeah, so on the existing reserves right now, we have, yeah, like waterfront 0.
So we just
Church Street
moved
Vice
fire
Street.
station to 130, right? Which one did we just?
We had talked about the fire station one.
I don't think we moved it, did we?
Yeah,
Oh, never mind.
and whether it should be,
Not fire.
lowered. But I was already accounting for some of that offsetting grant.
Grant
so to
money.
speak.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's where you talked about it. Well, I mean, like the technology budget, well, I mean, we start from just get some out of the way, like we've gotta make a recommendation on the ones that are on the warrant, so like waterfront project is. Right now, we're at 0.
The zeros won't be on the warrant.
They won't be, that's right, yeah, I can
Just what you're
remember,
appropriating.
yeah, that's right, I just remember we have to move them anyway at a recommendation, but we don't. Need to, right?
Yeah, if I'm proposing 0,
We don't make it, we don't have to.
unless you wanna put a number in there above 0.
Yeah,
And I would just assume that if it's 0, proposed as 0 and no one raises the question to fund it, then it just wouldn't be on the warrant.
yeah.
That's
Okay.
that,
I always
Still
ask
there,
that.
the reserve exists.
I always ask if we have to go through the motions to 0, but.
Yeah, but the point of the point of the warrant is to raise and appropriate a certain.
so with the technology at 5,
Yeah, I'm proposing 0, I think for technology and alternatively, as a department request, you could.
oh, okay, sorry,
5.
manager, yep. Apologies.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
So the lower, say risk ones, like, to me, the property revals, like, we have a contract, we have to pay,
Yeah.
like, certain, so that 30 grand would, I think, get us to that balance or close to it.
with one more year to be able to pay. Fund it.
Yeah, so I'll move the property revaluation capital at 30,000. That makes sense.
I'll second. Discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor? All right, so that one.
The only one that I'm recalling that didn't generate a lot of conversation was the fire equipment at 6. That was my proposal, the fire chief was recommending 11.
Yeah,
Of the rest of them, that was kind of the lower discussed, I mean, I'd yield to the chief if. That's what he needs, but.
yeah, I remember the discussion, I can't remember what the difference was between the two recommendations, something.
But didn't we settle in with that was okay?
The
I
11,
mean,
No, the 6.
there's room to increase in the next coming years if, you need to catch up on it. I don't think there was anything wild that was up that we didn't have the funding.
Well,
for
yeah,
yet.
but I don't remember that being the strong argument for the 6 to the 11. In that
Yeah.
session.
And I think we do know that because of what it's funding, there are some, low hanging grants that we could grab, or apply for. To help some of that, which we've done in the past.
So can we move that one?
you can, anybody can make them all down. I don't see why not.
That comes out from fire.
Yeah, I don't remember there being a lot of discussion back and forth.
No, I
From,
From the
chief
manager's
the
proposal.
manager, or what the big difference was there.
But I do recall Andy's correct, and there was some grant discussion on that one.
Yeah,
Don't wanna move it till he's done.
Oh, so he was doing it so that he could start replacing the packs, what do they,
SCBA's.
cause he, cause
Impacts.
my notes say that instead of
5
being
years?
30,000,
Mhm.
they're like 37,000.
Mhm.
So, and then, so he was just thinking of building towards that.
Right.
That was, I'm.
Yeah, you're correct.
yeah, I knew,
I'm-
I was gonna hunt for it, I was just gonna look over your shoulder.
Yeah, no, go ahead. So
Yeah,
When was that replacement slated for?
29, the first one. And
okay,
yeah, and that gives you 37. No, it doesn't,
So if you went to 37 instead of 30 for the actual cost in 29, and we've kept the funding levels as I,
6,
presented them, you'd, in that year you spent it, you'd have a balance of 11,600,
right,
versus the 18,600.
right.
So I mean, it's still fundable, at that, there's time to catch up.
Yeah, 'cause
I think I proposed 6 this year and next
so
year.
that's safe,
I'll make a motion to move fire equipment for the 6,000.
all right, thank you, Darryl, I'll second.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
And any discussion? Those in favor? Okay, so moved. So fire equipment. Property. Now. Yeah. I don't think there's anything else really comfortable moving. There's
Not
a
without,
lot bigger numbers, yeah,
not without
right now,
discussion
not with everybody, so. But
or potential discussion.
And I can touch base with, Tom and Andrea going in, just to make sure we're on the same page, like we're going in the next meeting, we wanna be able to finish. Get through capital, at least get the stuff, recommendations out. So if they have any questions between now and next meeting, I'll make sure they get. Touch base with them.
So the goal would be at the next meeting, finish capital. March 4th.
Yeah, it would be nice to get.
And then on the 11th.
That's your hour meeting.
In that hour, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
At least get them moved.
How many more
I would think
recommendation
so.
meetings do we have?
Yeah.
2.
We're 4:30 on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would think as long as we're all going into it more or less prepared, I'm worried about Tom and Andrew
Right.
just not having,
Right.
but. They both had a chance to go through it, so, I think if we have,
So we're scheduled for 3 more budget review meetings.
Yeah.
I think we're up
we can get through this and then get through a chunk of.
capital next
Okay.
time and then.
So we'll, that's what the plan will be, we'll get through capital.
We'll offer, are there any heavy questions for
Yes.
staff that would afford us an extra week to get answers for you
Right,
before they come up?
right, I'd have to look through it again.
And feel free to ask in between. We've had some of the budget committee members have been doing that.
Oh, yeah,
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 I would
get ahead of it.
Yeah,
I
but
like when you post those too.
you've seen it.
Yeah.
Okay,
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 That's helpful.
great.
That was new this year, and hopefully folks are finding that useful.
Yeah, no, that's very helpful.
It's hard to wait until, and it's like, we can take a look and answer them in
It's-
between the meetings, and then.
Nice to go to a meeting prepared, yeah, just having that information ahead of time, yeah, so, okay. That's all we can do, any questions, thoughts, comments?
Good.
Oh, wait, all right. I'll, make a motion to adjourn. Second. Oops.
No.
Second, that was right on the,
Are we
you
supposed to?
make that call, which one was it?
No, mine,
Okay, so.
All right.
it should be Dave.
Daryl, then.
Yeah. Oh, okay, really?
Use the
Yeah,
appropriate.
okay, really isn't.
All right, so I have a second, all those in favor?
Do we need to sign this here?